Welcome to our video series Out of the Vault, where we take a closer look at some of the artifacts from the Brockville Museum that are off display. So when we accept an artifact into our collection, we ask these particular questions: who, what, where, when, and why. And I'll try to answer some of these questions as we look a little bit closer at the artifacts in the Brockville Museum. So today we're in our 3D artifact room. This is where a lot of our larger pieces are stored, and I have a sword in my hands. And now this sword actually was owned by Jacob Buell, and this was presented to him in October of 1866 to commemorate his start as the commander of the Brockville Infantry Company. Now Jacob Buell was a descendant of early settler William Buell, and his family has a long and storied history here in Brockville. Now this sword was actually made in England by Furman and Sons, so they actually still make a lot of the ceremonial dress swords for the royal family and other elites in England. There's actually a bit of an interesting story for how this sword came to the Brockville Museum. So it actually starts in Europe. There were two couples taking a Danube River cruise, the Chisholms and the Newsons. Now June Chisholm was actually a descendant of Jacob Buell, and the sword was in her possession. And she and her husband met the Brockville couple, the Newsons, while they were traveling along the Danube River. They both shared excited stories about their connection, and June was very happy to share that she had the sword in her family archives. Now fortunately the Newsons were connected with the Brockville Museum and helped to make that connection with June Chisholm, who would later go on to donate several of her family archival material to the Brockville Museum to become part of the collection. Now of course we'd love to have this sword out on display. It's an important part of Brockville's history, but unfortunately we don't have a custom museum exhibit case for it. As it's a very fragile artifact, it would need to be supported with a proper exhibit case. So as of right now, it's staying in our 3D artifact room. So you can learn a little bit more about the sword itself, and of course there's lots of artifacts about the Buells on our database, which is online at the Brockville Museum as part of our Open Drawer project, where we're digitizing all of our collections to be available to the public. Thank you.